Hey everybody, good morning, good afternoon. Let's go ahead and get started with this week's broad market analysis. So this will be pretty straightforward. I'm also going to be sending out like some 2 minute and 20-second videos and under on Twitter this week for particular setups, just kind of breaking down the SPY and the Qs on shorter time frames. But far as this goes, we'll go over the BMA just really fast. This week, far as market watch is concerned, there's not a whole lot of econ data, not a whole lot with talking heads and so forth. So it looks like a quieter week from that perspective. Far as earnings go out there and check out the chart that I posted in the room. I circled the ones that I'm interested in. So obviously, the only thing that I would say about earnings this week is I have the Costco spread. So I bought the dip on Friday and again bought a spread that was out of the money to see if we could get some sort of run up into earnings. So please be aware they are reporting this week later on in the week. So again, the idea is not to hold that spread into earnings. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get started here. So again, on SPY and QQQ, if you want to see the results from last week, go ahead and take a look at those. I also posted those over in Trendy Trading in the Discord group. You could take a look there. Okay. Moving on, let's go ahead and get into SPY. And let's go ahead and go over our blueprints going into this week. So we have SPY on the left, Qs on the right-hand side. There's not a whole lot to talk about. You guys know how this looks. The neutral, everything in here, we want to stay neutral. All right, so pretty straightforward. If we break out over 293.95 on the Qs, look for this to be resistance at 295.19. And over here on the SPY, if we break out above the 408.10, look for 409.36 to be resistance. It's not until we can actually hold and create a base above here that I feel better for the bulls. But you can see the targets up above 411, 414, 419. And of course, that trendy edge that's sitting up there at around 421, 422 level. I feel the same way as I do from the past weeks. I do believe that the market is bullish. I do believe we continue up. But what I wanted to tell you is timing is the variable. So we started out last week with that pullback. But if you listen to the broad market analysis, the pullbacks, I was looking for buying those dips. And even on Friday, right? So you guys came in here, I coached you. I felt like we did really well as far as the coaching goes. We had a lot of wins. We had some 200% wins in SPX and so forth. So it continues to be that type of market. Again, looking for levels to go long on. Now, at some point, it could be that we come in here, I say something like that, and the levels that I want to buy actually do not work. So please keep that in mind. Okay. Let's break it down. I have these on a smaller time frame. I'm going to put, so we understand these are support levels until proven otherwise. To the upside is a resistance, okay? And that goes for SPY and QQQ. But let's go ahead and put the SPY over here as well. All right, we want to make sure we're on the right date. And what I want to do is give you a perspective from the daily. All right, and then to the right hand side, we have the 4 hour. So the biggest thing here is that your daily went inside and down, but then the dip was bought on Friday. And you can see that we push right back up into this inside and down formation. Okay, so it's right there. So basically, we bought the dip, we pushed up into resistance, and now if we open up, what is key is if on the SPY we can get over that base candle, which happened to be on Thursday. If for some reason we continue down, then obviously the 40810 will be resistance until proven otherwise, and this cloud will be support. If we, for some reason on SPY, start breaking down below here, see we have 30-minute zones that fall within this area. Price has come back to this area a couple times. If you look over here, we had some inside and up formations. We have inside and up here. So this continues to be support area in here. Okay, and it just so happens that we have a 30-minute zone in here as well. Price doesn't need to come back here. It's come back here several different times, but if it does, I think it's a buying opportunity until we start to close underneath these pivots here to the left-hand side, which is, between 394 and below 390. Okay. So again, I think we find support there, and we have a 30-minute zone just right above that. Okay. As far as the upside goes, again, we have the inside and down on the daily. But if we start to bid above that and above this resistance, I think we can continue to march higher into the end of the year. Okay, that is SPY. Let's go ahead and go over here and take a look at QQQ. Again, from a daily perspective and the 4 hour, they pretty much look the same. The difference is that on the higher time frames, like on the monthly, we still have quite some room up into the QQQ supply zone. All right. We haven't quite reached that area, but on the SPYs we have, and we keep talking about that from week to week. If you look up and to the left here on the Qs, same thing, folks. We pulled back last week on Friday. We went bid right at the trendy edge. Beautiful, beautiful level. You can see we pushed up there from 288 and some change all the way up into 293. Nice push. Again, these are your neutral levels, looking for support down here and resistance above. Just like the SPY, I have this level here, and what I'm doing, if you haven't caught on, is I'm using the daily edge, and that is going to be resistance until proven otherwise. Does it mean that we can't go long here? I mean, from an intraday perspective, it's fine. You make a couple bucks maybe to the upside. Um, I prefer if we were to gap down to try to get long towards the bottom of the neutral, and that goes for the SPY and the QQQ. Okay, just because we're so close to that resistance. All right. So that's the idea this week is, and really this year, buy the dip versus trying to buy a breakout, because the breakouts, it's just not the greatest market for a breakout. Okay, across the board, there are some names obviously that are breaking out this year and doing really, really well. This is a little bit different though. Again, areas to the upside are resistance until proven otherwise. If you notice, I don't have a third target right now. I will add one if and when we get over the 30161. I'll go ahead and add that. For now, we're looking for that trendy edge up there at 309, 310 level. Same thing over here on the 4 hour on Qs. We have a 30-minute zone. You can see if we look to the left, it's been support until it's not. The biggest thing when we started this entire rally, this goes for the SPYs as well, is that we had this huge chaotic candle. A lot of people were looking for us to come back and fill that imbalance down there. It hasn't happened yet. It doesn't necessarily have to happen, okay? Because right here was the imbalance. We came back and filled that imbalance. Then we pushed up, and now we're just kind of trying to hold these levels in here. Once again, I like buying the dip here until we start to close under these lower levels, okay? Again, that is QQQ. If you have any questions, please let me know. Now, the next thing is we're going to pull up the SPY on the monthly, and we want to go over the bigger picture. So really fast, I've already written this out for you guys, but I just want to show you and kind of mark up on the chart. We have our inside candle, inside and up, and again, we're only on the 4th day of December. Right now it's inside. If we get that continuation look, that would be three white soldiers looking for a push from SPY all the way up towards that potential 410 to 433, testing this wick over here. Okay, that would be on a bullish note. Now, the other thing is support going to continue to hold? So again, this is a monthly. We are above the cloud. We actually closed above the cloud. And if you look back here in March, we closed above the cloud. So it's been a long time since we've done that. And they gave us a little bit of hopium back then because, we closed over. We're like, okay, we're back above the cloud. But notice here, if we zoom in, one of the telltales was we had this high, we couldn't make a higher high, and then boom, we got the big sell off. So what do you think we're doing over here? All right, same thing. All right, if we can't make a new high this month, and we can't hold the support of the cloud, look for it to drift lower into 396 and possibly 386. Now, as long as we're holding the cloud, and you can see we actually came back off of last week's notes, this was your support, and that's what I said. And we came right back into that, and we held, and you could see that worked really, really nice. As far as going into this week, we need to get those bids above the highs, and if we can do that, just look up and to the left. We have a wick here around 411, and then we kind of come up here towards 417, and then again, this wick all the way up here towards 430. Okay, so bullish channel, all right, right here. Support, immediate support from a monthly standpoint is going to be the cloud. Inside and up formation, again, we are um, looking at and we are anticipating a strong zone. And so far that's worked. I mean, taking the breaks above this candle have worked out really, really well. But far as like the structure, what will look better for a very strong inside and up would be something like this. We would have to push up into the quarter. And if for some reason in 2023 in the first quarter, things turn around and get really ugly, then we would be looking at buying this zone. All right. And then again, looking to take the trade to the upside from there. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the bigger picture using QQQ. Again, these are monthly charts, folks. Same thing, inside and up formation. You can see that the 618 of the COVID rally has held. And these bullish zones are from the last 3 months. So I'm talking about this one, and here. So just taking Fibonacci from there to that pivot high, 286 by 279, 278, sorry, 280. So 286 by 280, that is your bullish zone. Far as price goes right now, we're at 292. So they're close. So my notes in the room were if we get a pullback into here, I'd be looking at buying. The difference between the SPY and Qs, we are in the cloud. So what you want to do is use the bottom of that cloud, and you can see that it's confluent to these numbers. And that is our support for right now. Your resistance up above are going to be these EMAs within the cloud, and that comes right in line with the inside and down formation. And I'm still looking for that level. It's just taking a long time for us to get there, but we're looking to see if we can get up towards 299.36 to 300. And the same thing as SPY, if for some reason we could break out above there, this, we'll look for support, and then we'll be looking to see if we can test these topping wicks. Again, support, resistance, okay, and formations. That's what's going on here. All right. So SPY QQQ. Let's go ahead and move on. We're going to look at the dollar. And so, again, we've been spot on with this analysis. I was looking for the inside and down. It happened. Once it broke down, we looked for levels. Those happened. We got the little bounce from the cloud. We broke below. That happened. And then I said, look for the move into the inside and up. Inside and up, if price hits here, I expect a bounce and for the market to turn down. So again, as price gets closer to here, just be careful. What I mean by that is if you're the type of trader who has 20 positions on and they're all long. Me personally, if I find myself with more positions long, I want to start trimming, taking profits, and just kind of getting ready and kind of see what happens in that zone. And we are getting pretty close to that. So again, for me, just a small yellow flag as the dollar gets closer to the inside and up formation. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and go to the TNX or the Treasury. You can see here, same thing. Things broke down. We were expecting that as well. Bad news, everybody was getting scared up here. And of course, the dollar and TNX started to pull back like we expected. And my notes as far as this week goes, we could see a bounce around the 50. So be careful if we get down around here. We could create an alert just to let us know if we cross that 3.4 level. If we do break down below there, expect prices to come down towards the 618 or confluence with the monthly cloud. So right now that happens to be at around 3.23. So again, around that area, if the dollar and the TNX are syncing up as they pull back into these levels, I would be cautious on longs. And again, that's for me. That piece of information is for me. You can dissect it and take it as you will, but for me, that means caution. Okay. All right. So again, that is TNX. Now let's go over into the SKU. All right. And SKU, again, these are your hedge funds. Just taking a look here. You can see that weekly is what we want to use on this. You can see it's very interesting, actually. I love the SKU. I love to like pick it apart and kind of find out what's going on because things dramatically have changed in the last 2 years. We were absolutely right around here that it was a risk on environment. Things really made sense to me because we were coming into quarterly demand zones. And so all is working well. What's interesting, I find, is because of a little bit of the pullback or a little bit of the rally. We started getting higher here, and I was saying, hey guys, we could see towards 135, 145 before the market starts to kind of peak out. And that made sense looking at the TNX and the dollar. But now notice the pullback here, you know, because of the pullback, the way I'm looking at this, because we didn't do a whole lot, but we held support, like everything that I'm coaching you on, I feel as if hedge funds are saying, hey, I kind of feel like you do, right? Feel a little supported here. We still have some room to run, so don't be so concerned. It's still falling within the risk on area. Again, these are just annotations. They do really help me out, but the bigger picture is I'm always looking at price action. This is just a tool to kind of help me out, kind of put the pieces together like a puzzle. Okay. So again, skew saying 118 equals risk on equals hold my beer is what I said. And I say that because I don't think it's going to be easy per se. I think that a lot of people are having a hard time. An example would be Friday, big pullback. Traders probably found themselves giving up on their calls just to see that the market was going to, uh, pop right back. I felt like I coached it well, but just because I coach it well and do well myself doesn't mean it's easy for you, and I understand that. It just takes a little bit of time in the seat. Okay. So again, here we are at a risk on environment. The fear and greed equals 63. And we can click on that right there. You can see it's actually ticked towards the neutral more. So again, I feel like we could go out with a bang into 2023 and get this thing pegged over to the extreme greed. If all, if these last three things I just showed you continue to happen, I think the market can continue to push up. All right. Again, price action will be the determination, be using those indicators, really helping us out going into this week. I'm really excited about, let's go ahead and let's minimize that. Let's go into the ES futures and pull that up really quick. So we are, is it right here? All right, and I typically don't go over the entire futures because really SPY and QQQ, it's the same idea. You guys know that. So with ES, what I like about this is when I'm looking at the weekly, again, this beautiful supply zone that has not been tested. This is what I'm looking for. And I continue to stay on that side until things break down. Remember, the ES futures are my guide for my portfolio. The idea is that if I'm long biased on ES futures, meaning I can see that my blueprint is working out and I'm looking for this, that means as long as these levels are holding, I want to be thinking long for the day. Okay. So if I think that the market could push at a 42.24 and we're at 4,066, you do the math, you come up with about 160 points or about $16 in the SPY to the upside. TTM squeeze on the weekly, higher yellow bars. I like that. The selling pressure is easing up. As far as the indicators are concerned, red to white, momentum change, inside and up, inside and up, inside and up, and these have led us to be on the right side of the market for a while now. And so again, I want to stay true to that, but I also don't want to be in so many positions where I can't operate or function. So what I mean is like I don't want to be overly exposed because even though you have this thesis and it works out, if you have too much money in the market or on positions to the upside and we get a big pullback, it's hard for you to hold, right? And it gets really deflating when you let go positions and then the market turns right back around and goes in the direction you thought it was going. That's really difficult. So again, it's really the key is allocation and being very comfortable with what you're holding. All right. All right, so that's ES futures. I won't go through the rest of them. Let's go to NASDAQ just really quick. I just want to show you. When I say the rest of them, folks, again, in the room, you can look at the daily setup, the 4-hour setup, okay? Let's go into NASDAQ really quick. So NASDAQ, again, this is what it's looking like. So resistance from last week worked really well. You can see we resisted there. We're in the cloud, just like I showed you on the QQQ, different than the SPY and the ES futures. But this is a double inside and up, and these can be really powerful. I would love to see support hold. I would love to see us build value above resistance. And if we get that, guys, I'm looking for 12,364, 12,720. Okay. Notice the supply up here is all the way around 13,200 by 700. Again, I like the risk to reward here more than I like it on the ES side. Again, tech, it's been a little sluggish, but I feel like it's also starting to turn just a little bit. So we'll be looking in for me this week. Some of my focus is looking at the tech side. Okay, so we're going to be focusing there. If I'm completely wrong, then we'll obviously kind of change direction and look for shorts and so forth. Okay. So that is NASDAQ. This is the blueprint. And again, if you want to see the 4 hour and the daily, just check it out in the room. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. My overall sentiment, guys, exactly kind of how I started out. This coming week feels a lot like last week without all the noise. Market Watch shows a very quiet week in comparison to last week. Earnings, some great names reporting, and as I said, I have Costco, so again, just be aware of that. SPY and QQQ show they are supported, but rallies are hated, so the moves start to get a little bit harder as the bulls try to advance upwards. Friday would be an example of that. Big pullback, they used data as an excuse, then they bought the dip. Weak hands or retail, most got, shaken out, and then that's what I mean. So the trend is still there, but it's not easy as we get closer to supply zones. Okay. I'm focusing on the bigger picture using only technicals. The dollar, the TNX, and SKU show there is a possibility that the market continues higher before a bigger pullback. Now that we entered a quieter period, I expect talking heads, catalysts, Twitter, all that stuff to focus on the next Fed meeting. Oh, the next Fed meeting will be the most important meeting, right? Right? It's always the same thing every time. I've never enjoyed December as I find it to be mixed with a lot of hopium and based on the holiday spirit, meaning, hey, let's buy stocks because there's a Santa Claus rally. Okay, well, I don't typically see that. I find it a little bit more difficult to trade during the holidays, and I find it even more difficult if you don't do well to enjoy your holiday. So, very important for us to keep our mental health where it needs to be. Make sure that we're, exercising, but also like, mentally prepared, right? Listen to those affirmations I talk about, focus on positive energy and positive vibes and really try to put yourself in the right environment. If you find you're not in the right state of mind before getting ready to trade, just take a break, folks. We'll always be here. Okay. All right. This year, I can see December being a little bit better because honestly, based on TA only technical analysis, I'm excited to continue the month because of the things that I'm showing you. Okay. Until these levels break down where the bears are, okay, until these levels break down, I'm bullish and I will remain bullish until then. And if there's some risk to reward there, if things turn around, obviously we'll play the short side. Okay. If you guys have any questions, please reach out to me. I really appreciate you. Can't wait to trade with you tomorrow morning.